One love to the humble, one love to the humble, one love to the humble. May grace and peace be multiplied unto you. Hope all is going well in your life. And if things are not going well, hope they start going in your favor really, really soon. That's what I really hope. Got another video request by the good brother Trey Day. And this video request is about Atlanta hip hop, the Atlanta hip hop scene. You know what I mean? How it destroyed the black community, or helping to destroy, or helping to continue to destroy the black community, how it has done that. And if you have a request, you make sure you go ahead and drop that request down in the comments below. And I'll do my best to get that request done. You know, now looking at hip hop, you know what I'm saying, from the time that I been a hip hop fan, I mean, I pretty much been around since the beginning of hip hop, and I watched it go through all the phases, you know what I'm saying, up until right now. I've seen it go through all the phases. And it's been a marvelous thing to watch. You know what I'm saying? It's been spectacular to see the changes and the growth, if you want to call it that, the hip hop has made over the years. And I've never been, I've never seen anything else like it. Because that was the one thing that in the black community that we had, that we was doing, that everybody liked. But at the same time, they didn't think it was going to be a big deal. They didn't think it was going to grow into anything major. But it did. It turned into something very big that was phenomenal. Now hip hop is like worldwide. Everybody's doing it. It's introduced so many different things into the world that would have never been there had it not been for hip hop. You know, when I came through, when I was coming up young, I'm talking about all the way from elementary school all the way through high school, up into adulthood. You know, the hip hop that I was used to was very different. You know, I didn't grow up the type of hip hop that was out when I was coming up. It wasn't about the flashiness. Now, there were some rappers that did have some, like some gold chains or whatever, but that wasn't considered flashy at the time. I mean, it was flashy, but it wasn't expensive. They wasn't doing nothing too much different, because the rappers and the regular people looked the same back then. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same clothes they wore, we wore. Like Carhartt was a hot thing back then. We was wearing that, they was wearing it. A lot of my favorite rappers at the time wasn't wearing platinum and stuff like that. That wasn't until like Biggie and Puffy them came out. They the ones who kind of, like, in my opinion, started that whole movement with the flashiness, you know what I'm saying? But the gutter rappers like Wu-Tang Clan, Helter Skelter, Poor Righteous Teachers, Das Effects, you know what I'm saying? Those are the people I grew up on. And they wasn't wearing anything like that. And we was dressing just like them. You know, Black Moon, Mobb Deep, you know what I'm saying? All of them. They was just, hip hop to the core. Yeah, Boogie Down Productions, EPMD, I can go on and on, right? But that was just that was just the way it was at the time. And plus, those guys was kicking knowledge. It was all about uplifting the people at that time. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about no trapping. It wasn't about no gangster, none of that. It was just simply about the art of rhyming, things like that. It was the art of rhyming, the skill of it. Not about necessarily who you can kill, but how your wordplay was, how your metaphors were, and your cadence, and how you put them rhymes together to make a hit song, or just even in the freestyle. That was a big deal. And you could pronounce, they could, when they said words, you understood what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? It was a bigger part was people understanding you. That was a big deal. I don't think that's the case so much more today, because once, I remember when I was in high school, I remember Outkast had came out with Southern Playalistic. That song, that album, Southern Playalistic, something Cadillac Music or something like that. I remember when that album came out, and I think that was the beginning of it right there. The Outkast, I don't really put them in the same category with trap music, but I mean, when you from Atlanta, And once the doors get open into anything, once you don't want to open the gate, everybody gonna run through that gate once the gate is open, no matter what. No matter if you following in their footsteps or you coming up with your own way, you know what I'm saying? You still you go through that door if that's what you're trying to do. If you're trying to be successful, the door is open, let's go. Everybody's gonna run through. So then you had I'm just giving you what I remember now. Somebody else may give a different story of who they thought was next or whatever the case may be, but I'm giving you my timeline. All right, it was like Outkast was out. And then I remember when I was in Germany in like 97, 98, 99, and this guy had this song. This guy was playing Pastor Troy. That was the first time I heard that song, No More Playing GA. And, they was getting, that song was like rowdy, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no more playing GA. My nigga, what? Oh, I don't think I should have said that word. Although they're going to get me on YouTube for that. But, it was stuff like that, right? That was the type of music that was going down. So, he came out with that, and he started making songs about hurting black people, shooting, and all of that. And then that was just leading into more of the trap style. So by the time I came from Germany, like 2000, I hit back in 2001. I'm back in the States at this time, and then I see they started with the Boys in the Hood was coming out around about this time. Might have been a little later, but I think it was somewhere in that area from like 2001 to maybe 2005, somewhere in there they came out. And then that's when, Young Jeezy and all of them started dropping the ice cream, Snowman. So he was the Snowman, you know what that represents. And it was just starting to see more of that style of rapping or hip hop come out. And when anything that you're promoting to the people, you got to understand that there's a lot of influential minds that's out there listening to that. And no man should be your idol in the first place, but some people gonna have idols and they idolize these people, right? And when you want to be like your idol. So whatever your idol doing, you want to do it. Even if they really not doing it, they're just talking like they're doing it, but it's gonna make you want to do it because they say that they're doing it. So now you're gonna go out here and you start living that life. Now you might have been in there a little bit, but then when you hear them talk about it, you see how everybody's responding to them. You see how the females are reacting. If you're a guy, you want to try to do that too. You want to get your gunplay up. You want to get your everything he talking about in that song. You want to figure out how you can do it like that, even though that's probably an exaggeration, but you want to do it too. And now you find yourself living that life. And then they say this is dope boy music. So now everybody is bumping this like, oh, I want to be a dope boy. You see what I'm saying? And some people went out and lived that lifestyle just because of that. They saw the attention, they saw what it get them, and they wanted it too. And that music was like prevalent. It was coming out every week. You had some new type of song from the South, from Atlanta coming out on that same type of timeline. And then they started naming it trap music. If you think about that for a second, trap music, you in the trap. The trap. You in the trap. You get caught in the trap. When you get caught in the trap, there ain't no way out. Right? You can't get out of the trap. You got snagged in the trap. But that's the type of music that they start putting out. Trap music. And it stuck. People go in the clubs, that music get to playing, somebody gonna get in a fight, and then fights usually the gunplay. Violence is gonna happen. Somebody getting shot, somebody going to the morgue that night, and then somebody going to jail. And then somebody from the morgue, they go to the graveyard. From the jail, they go to the prison, which is a graveyard in itself. They just don't have dead people in that graveyard. They're alive, but they still in a graveyard. They trapped there. They stuck there in another world for life sometimes, and maybe for a couple of years when they come back out, but you there, right? and it had destroyed the community. What was already going downhill, this just made it worse. Every time you turn around, somebody trying to live that life, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And now here we are. And all those people who did it was telling you to do a certain thing like this, but when they had their kids, they sent their kids to private schools, while your kids out here in public schools trapping, because that's the way out. Rap and trap. That's how we're going to get out of this situation. Not go to school, not get an education, not start a business. We're going to rap and trap. And you know where that leads to, rapping and trapping. Most rappers ain't going to make it. And trapping, you definitely ain't going to make it. But you got a good chance, you got a better chance of going to college and graduating than you do becoming a famous rapper and surviving. I think like rapping right now is like worse than going to combat in the military, because you can lose your life over something so simple so quickly. And it's very, very running rampant in our community. Our communities are torn down. The men are becoming like trying to be like dope boys, and the women are doing the twerking to the songs, and they becoming just like men too. They live in that same lifestyle now too. So how do you get around that? Because you're not going to get around it, because it's the trap, and it's getting their spirit, and it changed them around to be something that they're not, and they living out of the lifestyle of a song instead of what's reality. And it's not just a song, it's real, and real people do real things. So when they hear that song, they want to be like their idol. They want their car their idol got. They want the house their idol got. They want the money that they think their idol has. They want all of that. And how do I get it? I do what my idol said. I started slinging. I started selling. I started getting in the streets. I started living that life. But that life is very short-lived, and you're going to probably find yourself in the graveyard, or you probably going to find yourself in prison. Those are the only two places that trap music is going to send you. But they make it seem so commercial, and they make it seem so fun. And so you be like, well, can't nothing happen to me, because look how much fun they're having. That music sounds so good. But you don't realize what you do every time you put that music on. When you mix that music with alcohol and people that don't like each other in places that they should never even been in at the same time, you're guaranteed to have some violence. And then you got the innocent bystanders that get caught in the crossfire that don't even deserve it, but that's what they get. So in my opinion, that's what the trap music has done to the culture of Black people. And everywhere you go, you're going to hear it being played, because that's part of the culture now, to trap. So it has been a very, very big detriment. And if more people don't speak against it, we're going to keep having the same thing. Some people say, well, it's just music. They just doing what they love. They're just speaking about the streets. No, they're not just speaking about the streets. There's a way you can rap and speak about the streets, but it's different when you are speaking of it in a way to glorify it by telling them what you are doing. Another thing is that they talking about all of the negative things that come with it. How about making some music about the trap, but telling the negative effects of it, telling them how you end up where you might end up at, tell them the chances and the odds of you surviving. Tell them that. But that's my take on this. I think it's very detrimental. I think it has been detrimental. I think it will continue to be detrimental. And I think those who right now may be young and not understand, as they grow older and gain more understanding of the world and gain more understanding of the Black community and the effects of and how it affects the Black community, I think they will come around too. I don't expect them to right now, because they're probably too young, but I think one day they will realize how negative this stuff is, and how it will continue to destroy the young men and young women. That's my take on that. So if you have a request for yourself, be sure to drop it down below in the comments, and I will do my best to get that video done and put up and have you and tag you in it. Y'all take care, all right?